She was born a princess in a world where women were told to stay silent. But she picked up a sword instead of a veil. When her father died, her brothers tried to steal her crown. But she didn't bow. She became the first woman to rule Delhi, fought her own ministers, and loved a man the world rejected. Her courage made her a legend, but her story ended with heartbreak. This is not just history, it's the story of Razia Sultana, the queen who ruled with fire in her heart. Watch till the end, every moment will touch your soul. Chapter 1: The Unusual Princess. In the city of Budaun, in 1205, a little girl was born into the royal family. Her father was Sultan Iltutmish, a strong and wise ruler, and her mother was Queen Quta Begum. They named her Razia, but her father called her my brave little one. From a young age, Razia was not like other girls in the palace. While others played with dolls and sang songs, Razia ran through the gardens with wooden swords, watched soldiers training, and listened to stories of battles and kings. She asked her father endless questions about war, justice, and leadership. Iltutmish smiled and said, "You were born for more than silk and jewels." She grew up among soldiers and scholars. Every morning she went to the royal courtyard to watch warriors practice. One day, a soldier dropped his sword. Before anyone could react, young Razia picked it up and handed it to him with confidence. Everyone laughed, but her father's eyes shone with pride. "She fears nothing," he said. As she grew older, Razia began to study languages, religion, and politics. She spent hours in the library, reading about brave rulers and wise kings. Sometimes she would sneak into the royal court and listen silently to her father's meetings. The ministers frowned, saying, "Girls should not hear such things." But the Sultan said, "Let her learn. She will need this knowledge one day." Her mother often worried that her daughter was too bold. But Razia believed women could be strong too. She often said, "Why should courage belong only to men?" No one knew that these words would one day echo across history. Chapter 2: A Father's Choice. Years passed, and Razia's father became one of Delhi's most respected rulers. He built schools, roads, and strong armies. Razia watched and learned. Her brothers, however, cared little for responsibility. They spent their time hunting and celebrating. Iltutmish saw the difference. When Razia spoke, her words were clear and wise. Once, when a minister made an unfair decision, Razia stepped forward and said, "Justice should never bow to fear." Her father smiled proudly. When Iltutmish grew old and ill, he called his family to his side. Everyone expected him to name his eldest son as the next ruler. But to everyone's shock, he said, "After me, Razia will be the Sultan." The court fell silent. Ministers whispered, "A woman as ruler? Impossible." But Iltutmish said, "Razia has the heart of a king." After his death, the nobles ignored his wish. They placed her brother Ruknuddin on the throne instead. He cared more for luxury than for people. He left all power to his mother, who ruled with cruelty. The people grew angry as taxes increased and soldiers disobeyed orders. Razia walked among the markets, listening to their pain. One day, when Ruknuddin punished innocent citizens, the crowd shouted Razia's name. The palace shook with anger. The soldiers refused to fight against the people. And in one powerful moment, the gates of Delhi opened, and Razia rode in on horseback, her eyes bright with fire. The crowd chanted, "Long live our queen." The dream of her father had begun to rise. Chapter 3: The First Woman Sultan. In 1236, history changed. For the first time, a woman sat on the throne of Delhi. Razia wore simple white clothes and silver armor, not golden jewelry. When she stepped onto the balcony to address the people, the crowd went silent. She said, "I will rule with honesty, and I will serve my people as my father taught me." Her rule began with courage. She reduced unfair taxes, removed corrupt officials, and helped farmers after floods. She visited schools and temples, asking what the people needed. Many were amazed by her kindness. Some said, "We have never seen such a just ruler." But not everyone was happy. The nobles who wanted power felt insulted by a woman leading them. They whispered lies and spread hate. One day, when Razia entered the court dressed in men's armor, the nobles sneered. "A woman cannot command us," one said. Razia replied calmly, "I am not a woman or a man, I am your sultan." Her voice silenced them. She trained with her soldiers, rode horses in battles, and listened to every poor man who came to her gates. People began to respect her not as a woman, but as a true leader. But her courage also made her enemies more determined. They began to plan her fall, and their trap was slowly closing. Chapter 4: Love and Rebellion. Among her loyal officers was Jamal ad-Din Yaqut, a man who had once been a slave, but rose through ranks because of his bravery. Razia trusted him completely. He was calm, wise, and loyal to her cause. They worked side by side, and soon people began to whisper about them. "The queen loves a slave," they said. The nobles used these rumors to weaken her image. One evening, a group of ministers went to her enemy, Malik Altunia, the governor of Bathinda. "She has lost her honor," they said. "Join us, and we can remove her." Altunia, who once admired Razia, became angry and believed their lies. He raised his army against her. A terrible battle followed. Razia rode her horse through the chaos, sword in hand, leading her soldiers with courage. But she was outnumbered. Yaqut fought beside her, but he was killed in front of her eyes. She was captured and taken to Bathinda in chains. For days, she refused to eat. Altunia came to see her. "Why did you betray me?" she asked softly. He lowered his head. "I was blind," he said. Over time, he saw her strength and truth. He freed her, and they married. Together, they decided to take back Delhi, not for power, but for justice. Chapter 5: The Lost Throne. Razia and Altunia gathered loyal soldiers and marched toward Delhi. Their hearts were full of hope, but the path was full of danger. Along the way, people came out to see her. Old women blessed her, children waved flags, and men shouted, "Long live our Sultan." Her courage gave them strength. But Delhi was no longer the same. The nobles had placed her brother Bahram Shah on the throne. He ruled harshly, and the people were afraid to rise again. Razia and Altunia's small army faced a much larger force. In battle after battle, they fought bravely but lost ground. One night, after a long fight, Razia sat near a small fire with her husband. Her hands were wounded, and her armor was broken. She looked at the stars and whispered, "I may lose my throne, but not my honor." The next morning, their camp was attacked. Many soldiers fled. They fought until their horses fell. Exhausted and defeated, they escaped into a nearby forest. The queen, who once ruled the biggest city, now walked barefoot, her royal clothes torn, her heart still unbroken. Chapter 6: The Last Sunset. In the forests near Cathal, Razia and Altunia were weak and hungry. They had lost everything but each other. They asked villagers for food, but some feared punishment from Delhi and turned them away. Still, Razia did not beg. She held her head high. A ruler's pride must never die, she said. One afternoon, they found shelter under a large tree. As the sun set, bandits attacked. They wanted her jewelry and sword. Altunia fought hard but fell. Razia fought too, her sword flashing one last time. But there were too many. She was struck down, her face turned toward the sky she once ruled under. She was only 30 years old. When villagers found her, they buried her with care and tears. Years later, a tomb was built for her in Delhi, a quiet place where travelers still come to pray. People sang songs about her courage and strength. Razia Sultana became more than a queen. She became a symbol of bravery, of a woman who dared to dream in a world that doubted her. Her spirit still whispers through history. Don't let fear stop you. If you fall, fall fighting. Thank you for watching till the end. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Glorious English, where we bring you emotional real stories in very simple English to help you learn, feel, and grow. See you in the next story, because every word tells a world.